have audio.
Hey, Rich. Hey. Oh, Robert. I like this. They pumped my chair up. I like this.
You know, there's a little device apparently.
Oh, no, I think I like this. I think I like this.
They can actually bring it down.
No, I want to raise it a little bit more. Yeah, I know, right, Paula? I like this.
Ms. Cheng, could you, or Jim, could you tell us if we're public can view us?
No, they're live.
All right, we
Yeah,
got it.
they're all live.
And they can hear us? Yeah. We're on? I'm sorry, so we can be seen, we can be heard. All right. All right, I just, you know, I don't know where this clerk is right now, but I want to say that this is such a feat of accomplishment for us.
There's a
Oh,
district
there she
clerk.
is. That this is wonderful. This is the first time that we're actually in a public meeting, being live streamed, and we are in person. So kudos to everybody.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the reorganizational meeting of the Brentwood Union Free School District Board of Education. My name is Kathleen Hoey, and as District Clerk, I am calling this meeting to order at 7:10. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will Julia Burgos, Cynthia Safiri, and Eileen Felix please come forward to take the oath of office as trustee of the Brentwood Board of Education? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as trustee of the Brentwood Board of Education according to the best of my ability. Thank you, and I just need you to sign. Cynthia, right here. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Will Rich Lochner please come forward to take the oath of office as superintendent of the Brentwood Union Free School District? Repeat after me. I, say your name,
I, Rich Lochner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United
of the
States
United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as superintendent
as superintendent
of the Brentwood Union Free School District
of the Brentwood Union Free School District
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Thank At this time, I will now accept nominations for the position of Brentwood Board of Education President for the 2021-2022 school year. Do I have any nominations for the position of President of the Board of Education?
I nominate Robert Feliciano. Can I get a second?
Okay, hold on one second. Robert, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for the position of President of the Brentwood Board of Education?
I nominate Julie Burgos.
Julie, do you accept the nomination?
No. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for the position of President of the Brentwood Board of Education? Are there any other nominations for the position of the President of the Brentwood Board of Education? Seeing none, the nominations are declared closed. Robert, congratulations on becoming the Board of Education President for the 2021-22 school year.
Thank you very much.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
I,
state your name. No. No, sure.
Robert Feliciano,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as President
as President
of the Brentwood Board of Education
of the Brentwood Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. And I just need you to sign. Oh, right here.
Can I talk to you?
Sorry. Sorry, I forgot to take a vote on that. All in favor is Robert as president?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No. Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, usually we have a point of discussion before we vote. So if that's still possible? Oh, thanks.
Discussion?
Discussion?
Okay. I mean, I obviously, didn't accept the nomination. Robert, I do respect your position as president, and I know that you have the votes. I just want to explain why I'm voting no. I just want to ask that you please be a little more inclusive, perhaps, of the entire board, because there have been times, and I don't want to get into details, but there have been several times where we have not been all made, aware of discussions, conversations, or things that are going on until the very last minute. And I would also like for you to be more considerate of our requests for times, our requests as board members, as well as the communities, where the time has been changed for the board meetings without much discussion, and despite some requests for changes, they haven't been honored. So I just want to make it very clear and distinct that I respect your position, it's not personal, but I would like to move forward with those changes in mind. If you don't mind. Thank you.
All right.
Any other discussion?
I would like to add something. I think maybe we all need to have more transparency when it comes to certain discussions, because it's not all, sometimes I'm not even involved in certain things either, so.
I'm not either.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
I'm not.
So we all need to come together in that respect.
I hear things
That's
from the
fine.
community before, I
Well,
mean,
I'm
I hear
only
it from
mentioning
you.
it, and I'm sorry, Robert, that I directed to you only because that's the position that we're discussing right now. And you're right, Paula, I think we all need to just be a little more open with each other. And I think that moving forward, I would love to see that. I was just elected again, I have 3 whole years to sit here, and I really want to do it in a way that's a little different than the way we've been doing business, that we can have more discussion and more inclusion with the entire board. And I think when we do that, we do get better results. Because I think at the end of the day, we don't always think that differently. But if we don't have the opportunity to discuss, we don't really have the opportunity to come together and come to a decision that will be representative of the entire board.
Well, one
So
thing we have
that's-
to understand is that this is going to be a really special year. First of all, we've got money that we've been waiting for years to get, and we have a lot of work to do. Not just, financially, but even with our young people coming back to school.
But
So,
Paula, even with what you're saying with the money, I hear things that are gonna be done that never even came to me. People know things, the community knows things that I don't even know that's being said. That's not
but
being.
part of it is that, is it real or not?
It's
'Cause I
real,
don't know.
it's
Okay.
real.
All right.
Ultimately, the only thing I can say is that I do propose ideas, and I believe that that's part of the role as president to, give an alternate view, give a different perspective. But ultimately, it is a vote that comes down to the Board of Education. I am just one vote on this.
And
Let
I
me
do
give you-
get that.
Let me
And I-
give you the example of the example that you just gave in terms of the times for the board meetings. So, what was that about? So that was about trying to consolidate all of our meetings to one single day. We had, in the past, meetings that were taking place on Mondays. We had meetings that were taking place on Wednesdays, and we had meetings that were taking place on Thursdays. So part of what I was trying to do was consolidate all of our meetings to one single day of the week, and that's Thursdays. And then we would, the idea behind that would be that we would have the first Thursday and the third Thursday of the month. Again, that was the premise behind it, so that we, with our busy schedules, we knew that our meetings were going to be on those days. And then in terms of the hours, I know that, some board members have more flexibilities, more flexibility than others. So I thought that if we had an earlier start time, we could manage our time a little bit better, and we could get out to the public closer to on time than being late. That being said, today's a great example that, even though we did start at 5, we really didn't get to the business, to the core of what we were trying to do until 45 minutes later. And that was why I had thought that, even starting earlier at 5, knowing that we would come out to public at 7:30 was the goal.
Okay, I have to interrupt. I have a couple of problems with what you're saying. We weren't meeting at 5. During the height of COVID, we were meeting at 4:30. And,
Yes.
some of us still work. Even though I'm retired, I do work and take
Yep.
care of my parents, and I know there's other board members that work. So that's one. And the discussion you're having now, an explanation, I think should have happened maybe a year ago when you made that decision, and that didn't take place. So this is the first I'm hearing that the reason for that was to consolidate all our meetings into 2 days. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, Robert. And again, I just think it's unfair that these decisions are made and then they're not changed despite our request. And I think that this is the time to express it, because if we're going to move forward and have better relationships, we really do need to be honest with each other. So please don't take it personal, but I take it personal when I make a request and it's not honored. I take it very personal when I express something and it's just bypassed or overlooked. So I think we all need to work on our relationships with each other. And I'm going to bring up, since you're bringing up points, I'm going to bring up another point, because ultimately, it doesn't just affect us, it doesn't just affect me, it affects the entire district, okay? And I'm going to bring up one particular issue that has come up, okay? And that was my voting against the diversity consultant. But I did explain at the time, but I will take the time to explain it again. The reason I did so is because of the way that position came about. It was presented to us in an email approximately 2 weeks maybe before the actual meeting where we voted as an idea. So I'm thinking, okay, this is definitely something to think about and discuss. And that's what I expected to do. However, a day or two before the meeting, maybe even the day of, we received another email with We hadn't voted on it yet, but we got a contract for the person, there was a person already chosen for the position, and it was like a done deal before we had even had a chance to discuss it. Those are the kind of things that I take personal as a board member, because I think that my vote should count. I think that I should have a voice. And I think that we should not have these, decisions made ahead of time before we come out here to the public. I really think that I merit that respect to have the ability to weigh in. Because now it looks bad on me, but really in reality, I'm just not going to go along with decisions that we're expected to rubber stamp. And wait, please. Okay, there's more. You also negotiated with our superintendent for his contract, and I'm not going to go into detail, so I'm not going to cross those lines. But you did come to us in March of the year when, the contract was up and present, the finished contract to us, and you expected us to just rubber stamp it. And that didn't happen because that's not the way you do business. That's something that we need to really talk about. So these are the kinds of things that really, I would love to see change, Robert. I don't want to run against you. I think that having a strong president is important, and I do agree with some of the things that you do. And these, I think, are just technical kinds of things that we really should be working on so that we can present a more united front, so that we can have dialogue, and so that we all can feel respected as board members, and that we can have a say as to what happens. So I just feel that this is the time to do that. So that's all. I know you're going to be president anyway, so it's not going to have any bearing on that, and we're going to continue to work together.
And that's fair enough. To the point that I was trying to make before, again, even with the examples that you gave, what I did was I presented options to the board, knowing that I'm just one vote on this 7-member board. Ultimately, what I'm doing is presenting ideas, presenting options, presenting alternatives, presenting ideas that are outside of the box, with the hopes that they're discussed as a board, they are debated, and ultimately they are either rejected, accepted, or modified so that they can be accepted.
All right.
So
Can I
please finish? Can I please finish?
Please.
To the point that you were making about the diversity officer, we did have discussion about that, and ultimately, if I remember correctly, you voted against the renewal of that position last year. So we had this was already the second year, so it wasn't anything that was new to you. You rejected the renewal
I
of that concept.
voted against it in the beginning, okay?
Well,
I voted against it in the beginning, Robert, with a similar explanation that I just gave. The reason I voted against the renewal is because
At that point,
I just want to explain, please, now let me finish.
But at that point, the point I was making, at that point, you voted against the renewal, but it wasn't a new concept. It was just something that you rejected.
But I rejected it based on the same premise and the additional premise that even though we had COVID, so I want to be fair, right? This person couldn't really start in March when they were designated to start because we all know COVID came in mid-March. So the person who we chose couldn't really start till possibly like September. So it's not fair to say that they were in the position for a year and it didn't work. But we haven't really seen the changes, that I think we expected. And I would just like to kind of revisit that. So it's not that I am against a diversity consultant, but I do want to revisit the role. And I know we had some discussion about that. So I think we kind of agree on that. But and this is going to be my final point unless there's some other discussion. During that first vote for the diversity consultant, there is another board member here who actually acknowledged that she chose the person for the position. And that was at one individual board member's admission of that. So that is a clear indication that that was not a board decision. There was one person who chose the person, and that should not be.
Again, and I'm trying to be as respectful as possibly can.
So am I.
So what we have is we have the idea and a suggestion made by a board member, but ultimately we know that all decisions made by the board have to be with a majority vote. So you may have had a board member who presented an idea of somebody who could fill this position adequately. Ultimately, that idea is put on the table, it is discussed, and it is voted upon. So to the point that you're trying to make, Ms. Burgos, in terms of one person making the decision, that is absolutely, I reject that in its totality, because ultimately what happens is that that idea is put to a vote. It's either accepted by the majority or it's rejected by the majority. And in this particular case, the diversity consultant was accepted, even though it was proposed maybe by a board member, was accepted by the majority of the board. So again, there isn't a decision that's made by this board that's not made by the majority. No one person, not the president, not the vice president, not the second vice president, has that kind of power.
Robert,
So-
you make a good enough point about that. My point is that that majority is going to vote the way they vote. I should not be expected to do that if I don't have all of the information, if I do not agree. And I do acknowledge, it's the majority vote, and that's the vote that carries the board decision, and that's
Can I
That's the
add
way
to this
that's done.
discussion? I was the one that said this person was a retired teacher, a retired administrator, and they lived in the community, actually went to school in the community,
Oh, I know.
graduated in this community. That was just a suggestion. I didn't put this name out and say, pick her.
We didn't have an
anybody-
option. Did we have an option? I don't
Well,
remember having,
who did you bring to the
option.
table, Ms. Burgos?
'Cause-
What name did you bring to the table?
well, I did not bring a name
Okay.
because, excuse me. I did not bring a name because one day before the meeting, to be presented with a resume and a contract means that discussion is closed, the person has been chosen. It's just a matter of accepting or not accepting.
That's
So-
just, I just don't remember it that way, Ms.
Well, I do, and
I
I'm
don't
sure we
remember
have
that.
records
That's-
to prove
that's
it. So
okay.
we can continue this conversation at another time. I want to be clear, and I'm going to be transparent, okay?
And so am I.
I don't want to sit here and pretend, and I don't want to sit here and accept things that I don't agree with. So
Absolutely,
that I'm entitled to express myself, and that's just what I do.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank
I
you.
would just like to also add that there needs to be inclusion. It just, for it to change, there needs to be inclusion. There is discussion. We cannot say that it does not happen, that we already know what the vote's going to be before we even come out here. It happens. And I'm not going to lay blame on any particular individual. I'm saying we all have the responsibility as trustees of this district, as elected officials of this district, to have those conversations. Whichever side of the coin you are, where it's the majority 4 that people seem to think there is, or the minority 3 that the perception is out there. It's a conversation that needs to happen all the time. I don't want to come into a board meeting, executive session, and feel like a decision has already been made, and 4 people had a conversation without 3. And it feels very much so that way on a regular basis. And that needs to change, because then you are just recycling what you so adamantly fought against many moons ago. And I'm not going to get specific, but sometimes what you fought against, Robert, you have become. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that that's what your opinion is. I can give you a different example that really does exemplify what it
Listen,
is that.
it's not an attack.
Well, but
It's not an
okay,
attack.
and this
And
isn't-
this is the thing.
This isn't,
This is
well,
the
this
thing.
is, and this is,
It's like, it's like, there's no compromise. There really is no compromise. It's what you and your majority want all the time. And if anybody brings an idea forward, it's not really heard. And that's where the frustration is. It's not to take away or diminish. This board has done great things. We've all done great things, individually and as a team. What we want to see is that teamwork continue. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way.
Going forward, because this is a new
Right.
year.
That's
We
exactly.
have a lot of
Exactly.
work cut out for us. We've got a lot of exciting things that we can do. So
Yes.
let's start working on what we need to work on.
Absolutely.
And move forward and keep it moving.
And that's the point of the whole conversation, that it's a 7-member board, not a 4-member board.
Now, Candace, are we all equal as far as the
Yes.
board president, and all he does is speak at the meetings?
Yeah,
Each board member's vote is equal.
right.
No one
But I'm
board member
saying
has
his
more
control,
authority
where he always
over
comes out
the
with,
vote.
what Robert always comes out with something. We're allowed to do the same thing, am I correct? Like, as a president, isn't he just really controlling the meeting?
He has other responsibilities. So for example, he's the spokesperson of the board when it comes to media
Right.
relations and some other factors as well. So there are other duties that are specifically designated
Can
to
you
the
send me
president.
something and tell me exactly what the board president's duties are, please?
Sure, and it's part of the Brentwood board policies as well.
All right.
And it's school.
so the example that I was going to give,
I want her to send it to me.
So the example that I was going to give is not a personal attack. It's just merely a fact. So we have some conversation about conversations happening outside of the meetings that we have. My recent memory, if it serves me correctly, reminds me that there was a appointment of a principal that we made just recently that I thought there was going to be unanimous support. That is where I thought we were heading. That is part of my recollection, and I was very, very, very surprised, actually very disappointed that this particular individual, and again, this is a public vote. I'm not talking about executive session material. This was what happened in public, that we had a appointment of an elementary school principal who I thought was going to be accepted unanimously, and I believe that other board members thought that that was where we were heading. Surprise, surprise, during that meeting, we had 4 yeses and 3 abstentions. Again, now this just fell along, that 4-3 split that some of the board members have mentioned. Well, how did those 3 end up abstaining without conversation? So what I'm
Robert,
trying to
was
say
there
is,
conversation? Was there opportunity for
what I'm trying to say is that,
Which is my
yes, so
point.
the point that Ms. Moore made, it has to happen from all sides. That's as simple as that.
Okay, so the public doesn't know this. I did send out an email asking to take that off the agenda until we had discussion. I didn't say I didn't agree with it. I just wanted to have the discussion. That was totally disrespected, disregarded. That's how we wound up with 3 abstentions and 4 positives. So this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Mr. Feliciano, please. I want to respect you, I really do, and I feel that I do. But you also have to respect, you said yourself that we're each entitled to our votes. We're entitled to our votes. I don't mind if you question it, but you have to be able to listen to the answer, okay? I want to be able to have the discussions, okay, before we come out in public. Some of it, I understand, has to be in public, but I think that if we could find a way to get along enough to have these discussions, we will be better off, and we will be able to understand each other better. We may not always agree, but I think we will be better off, and you won't be as surprised.
Okay, so council has just asked that we go to exec. So I'm going to, it's going to be to seek the advice of legal counsel. Could I have a motion, please?
Point of order. To do what?
To seek the advice of legal counsel.
What?
Yeah, for what? It's a
There's a motion on the floor. I'll make a motion to go into exec. Could I have a second, please? To seek the advice of legal counsel.
Okay, could we have a little, I'm sorry, Candace, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can we just have a little explanation as to what?
Right, and not just you and
What
Robert
direction
have
the advice is,
conversations, 'cause there's 7, not just 1.
To seek the advice of legal counsel regarding prospective litigation.
Well, I didn't hear you, what?
Perspective with an issue. Is that what you said?
Prospective litigation.
Oh, litigation? Is that what you said?
Litigation.
That is what I said. That is
Perspective
what I said.
Litigation.
Yeah.
So I have a motion to go into exec, please.
How this conversation fits into
Could I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Abstention, no.
So moved. 4-3, if I believe correctly. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Oh, we,
Yes.
sorry, guys.
What's going on? Everything about legal. Can't be about the discussion that's going on. Discussion means an open forum, people can talk.
think there's nothing all over me? We don't have somebody's. No. These are all.
So we have to do that. Kathy, before you begin, I just wanted to let the public know that the board has already made a motion to adjourn exec and come out into public.
Okay, I have a nomination on the floor.
Can you bring the microphone
Oh,
down?
sorry. By Maria Gonzalez Prescott to nominate Robert Feliciano as Brentwood Board of Education President. We had no other nominations. I'm going to take a roll call. As I call your name, please answer yes, no, or abstain. Julia Burgos.
No.
Cynthia Safiri. Eileen Felix.
No.
Maria Gonzalez Prescott.
Yes.
Simone Holder Daniel.
Yes.
Paula Moore.
Yes.
And Robert Feliciano.
Yes.
Congratulations, Robert. You have been approved as Brentwood Board of Education President. 4-3-0. Now I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Board President, Robert Feliciano.
Kathy, please administer the oath of office.
Excuse me?
Oath of office.
Oh,
please.
sorry. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
I,
Robert Feliciano,
Robert Feliciano,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United
of the
States
United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of President of the Brentwood Board of Education
of President of the Brentwood Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And two.
Robert, can you please re-sign the book?
Sure. I
Thank
will
you.
resend the book. On the bottom. I'm going to put 1, and I'll put 2.
Okay.
This is the first time in the history.
Okay, so here you go. One, first vice president. And then here's the second vice president. Okay, I will now be turning the meeting over to the Board of Education President, Robert Feliciano.
Good evening, members of the board and public. Thank you very much for my colleagues on the board for having the faith and trust in appointing me the president of the Board of Education for the 2021-22 school year. Sincerely, I really do thank each and every one of you. So now we're going to continue with the nominations for the other two positions. First position will be first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education. Do I have any nominations for the position of first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education?
I nominate Paula Moore.
I have a nomination for
Paula Moore.
Paula Moore. I have a nomination for Paula Moore as first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education, made by Trustee Gonzalez, Prescott. Ms. Moore, do you accept this nomination?
Your thing is on.
I'll accept it.
Ms. Moore accepts the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education?
I nominate Julie Burgos.
Nomination for Ms. Julie Burgos as first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education, made by Trustee Safiri. Trustee Burgos, do you accept this nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Trustee Safiri, Trustee Burgos accepts the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education? Are there any other nominations for the position of first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education? Nominations are declared closed. We will begin with the vote for first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education by roll call. Those in favor of Ms. Moore, Trustee Moore, as the Brentwood Board of Education first vice president. Trustee Burgos?
No.
Trustee Safiri?
No.
Trustee Felix?
No.
Trustee Gonzalez Prescott?
Yes.
Trustee Holder Daniel?
Yes.
Trustee Moore?
Yes.
And myself, Robert Feliciano, is a yes. The motion passes. Congratulations, Trustee Moore. You've been nominated as first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education for the 21-22 school year. Please come up to take your oath of office, please, as first vice president.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Usually I do. You do me. Yeah, you do. I state your name.
I, Paula Moore,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as first vice president
as Vice President
of the Brentwood Union Free School District Board of
of
Education,
the Brentwood Union Free School District Board of Education.
according to the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Paula.
Now we'll continue with the position of second vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education. Do I have any nominations for the position of Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education?
I nominate Eileen Felix.
I have a nomination for Trustee Felix as Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education, made by Trustee Burgos. Ms. Felix, Trustee Felix, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
Are there any other nominations? Thank you for that, Ms. Felix. Are there any other nominations for the position of Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education?
I'm going to nominate Maria Gonzalez Prescott.
I also have a nomination for Maria Gonzalez Prescott as Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education, made by Trustee Moore. Trustee Gonzalez Prescott, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
Thank you for that, Trustee Gonzalez Prescott. Are there any other nominations for the position of Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education? Are there any other nominations for the position of Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education? Nominations are declared closed. We will begin with the vote of Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education by roll call. Those in favor of Trustee Felix as Brentwood Board of Education Second Vice President. Trustee Burgos?
Yes.
Trustee Safiri?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Prescott?
I abstain.
Trustee Holder Daniel?
No.
Trustee Moore?
No.
Trustee Felix?
Yes.
And myself, Robert Feliciano, would be a no.
Shocker.
Motion fails. Those in favor of Trustee Gonzalez Prescott as Brentwood Board of Education Second Vice President, Trustee Burgos,
Yes.
Trustee Safiri,
No.
Trustee Felix,
Abstain.
Trustee Holder Daniel,
Yes.
Trustee Moore,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Prescott,
Yes.
and myself, Trustee Feliciano, would be a yes. Motion passes. Congratulations, Trustee Gonzalez Prescott. You have been appointed as First Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education for the 2021-2022 school year.
Excuse me, isn't that Second Vice President?
Second Vice
You
President.
said first.
I'm sorry. So congratulations, Trustee Gonzalez Prescott. You have been appointed as, oh, you're absolutely right. It's written here as First Vice President. As Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education for the 2021-2022 school year. Please take your oath of office.
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge as Second Vice President of the Brentwood Board of Education to the best of my ability.
Ms. Hoey, I believe we're on item 5. We're on item 5. Page 2, appointment of district officers.
Yes.
Okay. Appointment of district officers, item number 5, page 2. District Clerk of the Board of Education, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of the schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Ms. Kathleen Hoey to serve as District Clerk for the 2021-2022 school year, and be it further resolved that the same shall be compensated at an annual salary of $55,000, and be it further resolved that in the event of Ms. Hoey's absence, it is recommended that Stacy O'Connor be designated as the unpaid substitute District Clerk, and be it further resolved that the constitutional oath of office be administered to the District Clerk by the President of the Board of Education. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Burgos. Could I have a second, please? Second by Trustee Felix. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Should we? Please repeat after me. I, Kathleen Hoey, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of District Clerk
the duties of District Clerk
of the Brentwood Union Free School District,
of Brentwood Union Free School District,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Item B, page 3, District Treasurer. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Ms. Nancy Carollo, District Treasurer for the 2021-2022 school year, and be it further resolved that her annual salary for the 2021-2022 school year shall be $19,859, and be it further resolved that in the event of Ms. Carollo's absence, it is recommended that Nicole Valenti be designated as the unpaid substitute treasurer to act when necessary during the year, and be it further resolved that the constitutional oath of office be administered to the district clerk to administer to the district treasurer by the district clerk. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Moore. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Burgos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Congratulations, Ms. Carollo. Item C. There she is.
Everything's wrong, huh? Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as District Treasurer of the Brentwood Union Free School District according to the best of my ability. Congratulations, Nancy. Thank you.
We're now going to item C, the district purchasing agent. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Mr. Eric Carlin, district purchasing agent for the 2021-2022 school year. And be it further resolved that in the event of Mr. Carlin's absence, it is recommended that Mr. Frank Hart be designated as the paid substitute purchasing agent to be paid at a rate of $300 per day for days worked, to act when necessary during the school year. And be it further resolved that the constitutional oath of office be administered to the district purchasing agent by the district clerk.
Motion.
Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I,
state name.
Eric Collins,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as purchasing agent
as purchasing agent
of the Brentwood Union Free School District
of the Brentwood Union Free School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, all right. Thank you.
We're now going to item D on page 3, Audit Committee Charter and Members. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, that the Board of Education hereby appoints the Audit Committee Charter and appoints the following members to the district's 2021-2022 Audit Committee. I'm going to name the Audit Committee members, and Ms. Hoey, I believe, is going to administer the oath to those that are present. Number 1, Robert Feliciano. Number 2, Simone Holder-Daniel. Number 3, Samuel Bernard. Number 4, Michael Malazzo. And number 5, Celia Volmer. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion. Could I have a second? Motion by trustee Felix, second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Yes, be it further resolved that the constitutional oath of office shall be administered to the district audit committee by the district clerk.
Mike, Sam? Celia could not make it. She will be registered in another time. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties as Audit Committee member of the Brentwood Union Free School District to the best of my ability. Thank you very much. I just need you to sign. Okay, Robert? Right there. Simone? Right there. I gotta turn the book over. Simone? Right there. Mr. Morris. Right there. Congratulations.
Item number E, Claims Auditor. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Noraki Smith as Claims Auditor for the 2021-2022 school year at an annual fee of $30,000. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Moore. Could I have a second? Oh, a motion by Trustee Gonzalez-Prescott. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item number F, External Auditor. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints EFPR Group CPAs as External Auditor for the 2021-2022 school year at an annual fee of $41,000. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item G, District Records Officer and Appeals Officer. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the District Clerk to serve as the District Records Officer for the 2021-2022 school year and will be responsible for responding to all Freedom of Information Law requests. And be it further resolved that it is recommended that the Superintendent of Schools shall be appointed the Records Appeals Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Motion. Who's the motion?
Maria, motion.
Trustee Gonzalez-Prescott as the motion. Could I have a second? Second by Trustee Burgos. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Bond, Schoenig, and King, PLLC, and Ingerman Smith, LLP, to provide legal services to the district as listed for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Gonzalez-Prescott. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Burgos. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item I, Fiscal Advisor. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Munistat, the Fiscal Advisor for the 2021-2022 school year, and be it further resolved that Munistat shall be paid on an annual basis to provide fiscal advice pertaining to bans, TANs, SEC filings, and bond issues. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item J, Internal Auditor. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the firm Serini and Associates, LLP, as Internal Auditor for the 2021-2020 school year at the following hourly rates as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item K, Title IX Compliance Officers. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education Programs and Policy, the Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Education, and the Payroll Manager as the district's Title IX Compliance Officers for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item L, 504 Compliance Officer. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the Director of Special Services as the district's 504 Compliance Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Burgos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item M, Medicaid Compliance Officer. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the Director of Special Services as the district's Medicaid Compliance Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Gonzalez-Prescott. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item N, Asbestos Compliance Officer. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints the Assistant Plant Facilities Administrator as the Asbestos Compliance Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item O, Chief Emergency Officer. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Director of School Safety as the district's Chief Emergency Officer as required by Education Law, Section 2801-A, and the implementing regulations, Section 155.17A, for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item P, Data Protection Officer. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints the Network Systems Coordinator as the Data Protection Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Gonzalez Prescott. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. We're now going to consent agenda on page 7.
Excuse me, I just have a question on one. I don't want to separate it. I just have a question on 7D, the bonding of employees. Is that the same amount we've always had? I guess the question is more for Stacy, possibly.
What is it?
7D, the bonding of employees, is that the same amount?
Yes, that's the same
Carried every
amount
year?
that we have with NICER every year.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to look it up. Thank you.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Okay. So be it resolved that the following items be approved, 6A and 6B. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Moore. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Burgos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Be it resolved that the following items be approved, 7A through 7I. Could I have a motion, please? Motion by trustee Felix. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Item J, separate. District-owned cell phones. To be in compliance with the district cell phone policy number 8332, a list of employees, actually, that's for information only. So item J, let me reread this. This is for information only. To be in compliance with the district cell phone policy number 8332, a list of employees requiring district-owned cell phones is being presented to the Board of Education for review. There is one item that's not on the agenda. Let me just get ready for it. I'll be right back. I'm going to ask Dr. Keel to please come to the podium. All right, mic check. Dr. Keel, we were working really hard to make this a surprise for you. I don't know if it was, but the face, I've never seen that face before, right? So listen. All right. First of all, on behalf of the entire Board of Education, district administrators, district staff, everyone, food service workers, clerical, security, B&G, nurses, everybody here, on behalf of everybody here, the community, the students, parents that don't even live in our community, people that come here, right, and experience what Brentwood has to offer. I offer you this bouquet as a token of appreciation. So I did a good job. So the reason why you gotta come over here. You gotta come over here. The reason why this is happening is because Dr. Keel will be leaving us. I believe her last day here will be July 10th. She's taken a position over at Uniondale as the superintendent of that school district, and I would really, really like to give her the biggest round of applause that we could possibly muster. Dr. Keel, thank you on behalf of everybody mentioned. We know that you're going to do great things in Uniondale. That's just a given. And what we have now is a friend in Nassau County, right? So when we're teaming up to do something, right, against the state because they shorted us, or against the feds because they're not rolling with us, right? We know that we have a partner in you.
Be right there.
All right. So listen, I don't know, and I don't like putting people on the spot, but I think some parting words.
I would love to see.
Good enough. Thank you.
This is a really hard day for me. I want to thank the Board of Education so much for your support of our district, your support of the cabinet. Thank you for your support and your commitment to our children. We know that you're our children's fiercest advocate, and even when we see sometimes disagreements, we know that it's all the love that you have for this community and our children. And so I've been a beneficiary of that. So I just want to thank you. I really want to thank my colleagues. I've worked with Rich for 7 years, and I just feel so blessed. I always say, Rich has been great to me. I've learned so much. I've learned so much from my colleagues, Stacy, Rhonda, Wanda, Annie. And it's going to be really hard not to be able to knock on your doors or, walk over and just ask, for a question or a favor or to ask you to partner with me on something. I just want to thank Brentwood again for the wonderful, opportunity you've given me here to express my leadership. You've really allowed me to soar. You've really allowed me to grow, to have ideas, and to flourish. And I know you'll continue to do that in support of the great administrators, teachers, and other staff in this district. So with that, I am kind of speechless. I am surprised, but I am very humbled and thankful. So please keep me, if you pray, please keep me in your prayers as we move into another season. But Uniondale is a community very, very similar to Brentwood, and we're going to, be partners in the struggle together. Thank you.
So that's a wonderful note. I am going to end on, excuse me? Point of order.
On the nominations for the president, vice president, secretary president, did we need a second motion?
No, the nominations were held, the roll call votes were held, and that procedure is finished.
So we didn't, like Kathleen had to get a second to be brought up. I'm saying, once Robert was nominated, I forgot who was nominated, should there have been a call for a second on that nomination?
I'm not really answering legal questions in public. I've given my answer, and if there's anything else that needs to be discussed.
If it's legal or not legal that he didn't have a second, or Maria didn't have a second, or Paula didn't have a second? Is that what you're telling me?
What?
It's a legitimate question. Everybody else had to have a second.
Do you want to throw it to?
I mean, I have no problem with the selection, okay, I just.
I'm going to ask, Mr. Coleman, I'm going to ask the district clerk to weigh in.
No, you do not need a second.
Okay, thank you. So with that being said, wonderful note to end this meeting. Congratulations again, Dr. Akil. I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. No questions.
questions.
No questions.
But
Any questions?
questions on the agenda?
This is Kathy, are they working now?
Not on the agenda, no.
Yeah, this is,
Well, Robert, before we end, not a question. I just want to ask, and I think I did mention this before, that we please make a school messenger announcement about future meetings, especially meetings that are not regular business meetings, because I think we might have had a bigger turnout had we maybe done that. I know it's been a busy week. We survived 4 graduations and, you know, a lot of different things, so that's fine. But I think moving forward, I'd like to see school messenger messages go out. Thank you.
this
I
isn't,
didn't know either, I just asked.
yeah, this isn't a regular business meeting. It was questions on the agenda items. That's what we were entertaining today.
There's not questions on the agenda items.
Could I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Motion.
Motion made by trustee Gonzalez Prescott. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Can we just make sure
I-
whoever
I
submitted questions
abstain
get an
because there is
answer?
a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anybody opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention.
So, let's do a roll call. Trustee Burgos?
Abstention.
Abstention on adjourning tonight's meeting. Trustee Felix?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Holder Daniel, yes. I'm a yes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Prescott? Trustee Moore?
I just need to know
With
what
the
the
mo-
question is, what's, you know.
Well, that's why I abstained. I think if there's a question, even if it's not an
We were
agenda item.
taking questions tonight on agenda
Sorry.
items only. We would answer those questions on the business meeting.
Okay.
We don't have a business.
Trustee Moore?
So, I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, trustee Safiri? Motion moves. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.